Hello guys, welcome back to Gaming Tidbits, and today we're going to talk about the Sega Dreamcast and Sonic Adventure. For a lot of people, the Sega Dreamcast is a very special console. Now, first of all, Sega Dreamcast is one of the consoles that's heavily being supported with new games these days on the homebrew scene, third-party scene, whatever you want to call it, indie scene. But fanfare takes people a long way, and one of the most interesting things about the Dreamcast, for example, it was the first console to come with a modem as a standard. Now, Sega was also, obviously, you can go all the way back to Sega Genesis, when Sega had the Sega Channel, when they first dabbed into doing online gaming, and certain games that were out then have never come out since. Golden Axe 3 was on the Sega Channel, but was never released like in North America. But the Dreamcast is also responsible basically for setting up what is now considered online gaming today. Sega hemorrhaged a lot of money due to the online gaming component, though it was one of several reasons Sega went under at that time. It wasn't just that, but they were spending a lot more money than they were getting back for their console at the time. And I remember playing, for example, 2K Football was actually originally one of the draws why I bought the Dreamcast, because I was, that time, into sport games. And I remember playing online and never really having much of a hiccup, truthfully, with playing that on the Dreamcast. But one of the most interesting things, and underutilized, nor maybe not really used, because if you had a computer at the time, it wasn't nearly as fast or obviously abundant what it could do, was the Dreamcast browser software. And one of the things you could do were actually go to certain pages. For example, Sonic Adventure had a Dreamcast browser-friendly site. And you could connect to this Dreamcast Optimum website through, obviously, the browser, or it'd give you game hits or VMU downloads. Anyway, someone has gone through the hassle, and I call work, to bring back the Sega Adventure browser page, because the page was shut down when the Dreamcast was canceled. And it's just cool to go back and basically see this on any internet browser device now, and see things like the last contest they run, and who ran it on that web page. Now, obviously, certain things don't work, like the chat doesn't work, obviously. But overall, most of the pages you remember are browsable. Like, most of it's browsable. It's amazing the work they went to basically restore this so that now you can browse this. And basically, I call it historical preservation of video game history, which this is what this is. And I went to this site back in the Dreamcast day because maybe I was more open to trying new things, but I had the browser, so what am I going to do with it? Oh, cool. I'll go to the Sega Adventure homepage, and I looked around the page, that's kind of cool. Well, now you can do that again. And for a lot of people today who weren't around and didn't have a Dreamcast, probably this page doesn't mean a lot. For people who had a Dreamcast or were into that era of gaming, this would mean more to them. It does to me. It's really cool to go back and look at how web pages were back then compared to today. In some cases, it's more generic, but yet some ways it looks better than some web pages to me today. And that's really cool to go back and look at that. It is cool when people who love something take the time to bring it back for other people who loved it to see it again, or for new people who maybe are getting a Dreamcast these days or have one recently, who never had one, who can go and see this as this was part of the history of the system that they like to play games on. It may not add anymore to the enjoyment of playing those games, but it's just cool that it's around. And for me, it's really cool. I dig this kind of stuff as someone who played retro games. And I love the history, and I think it all should be preserved so that future people who play video games see where we came from, especially if they're into that certain generation. Listen, someone who buys Xbox One, PS4, heck, maybe the next generation of gaming, who's young into gaming, why those are cool, they may, some reason or other, end up picking up, let's say, a Dreamcast and find out how much they love that system and that library of games and want to find out more. And this will be available to them, and hopefully be available to them, for future generations. I think that's the point of preserving history of anything, is so future generations could see where things came from. Anyway, enough of me babbling. What do you guys think of this? Do you think it's kind of cool? Do you like it wasn't a Dreamcast? I don't care. Love to hear you guys' opinions like always. I'll make another video soon. Later, guys.